We have the next speaker, please.
Good evening. I've been informed that you have been made aware of what happened and in my house on Wednesday, April 11th. At approximately 9 p.m. Sorry. I can go back. My 16-year-old daughter was in the backyard in this bar. I was inside doing laundry. I had put our dogs away because they were barking. Now I know why. Our home alarm was not on. Nearly every light in our house was. My daughter came in the back patio slider, walked upstairs to the shower. She was followed by a man up the stairs. No doubt, quietly snuck up behind her. As she undressed to take a shower, she heard the man say, "I've been looking for you," and thought it was my husband. She thought it was my husband coming home early from a business trip. She was fully undressed, cracked the open door to see what she thought was her father, who had been away for 3 days. Instead, she saw what we refer to as a creep. She slammed, locked the door shut, screamed, "Go away." Her scream was petrifying. It was chilling. I started to scream as well. I saw the man coming down the stairs. I threw whatever I could find at him and told him to get out. After he left, I could not even call 911. I had to depend on my 16-year-old daughter to come down and do it. If there is a recording of that call, maybe you should listen. The operator asked, because of my behavior, if I needed an ambulance. After calling this man, I could not catch my breath. And to her credit, my daughter guided the police to her house, and they were able to approach him. Chief Hendricks, thank you. Your officers responded quickly, professionally, but I could see and feel their frustration. Okay. I'm just going to skip to this. He came to Fullerton by someone's direction to get to the shelter at EV Free. I saw homeless come to the church via both private and OCTA buses. My husband asked one of the guards where the buses were coming from and told Santa Ana. My husband also asked if they took the names of these coming into the gym and stated only if they had medication that they needed to take. Here's the most alarming. Many of the people off the bus went straight to the gym doors, although several went immediately to 7-Eleven and Stater Brothers. And from what I saw, there were fit men who could only remind me of the man who came into my house. At EV Free, there were several armed security guards, metal detectors, and patrol cars parked in the church structure. This tells me they knew what they were doing and who they were bringing posed danger. Mercy House and EV Free knew some of these people were potentially violent. They bought and attracted them in with no notice, similar protection or warning to me or anyone else in Fullerton. Shame on them. I cannot hold them responsible for what happened to us. That was one man, but I can confidently say they helped. I am asking you to provide Chief Hendricks the manpower and the resources they need to help patrol the area, the trails.
Ma'am, your time is up. Can you wrap up, please?
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your story with us.
Chief, thank you. I talked to you earlier today. I can't say thank you enough. As a father away on a business trip, to receive news like that, you can just imagine how helpless I felt and I still feel. Because from my standpoint, what I've seen and heard, this has so far not been taken seriously. Not just this incident, but all of them. I don't want any of you to think that I'm not a compassionate man. I'm the first person, you can ask my wife, to give clothes to the homeless on the street, to give them food when I think they need it. And that's how I want to continue to be. But as you can imagine, this event has changed my standpoint. So, like my wife was about to say, is EV Free, Mercy House knew there was inherent danger. My question to them is, why weren't their own parishioners aware? I've talked to 2 pastors there. They were not aware. Why were they keeping this a secret? Were all the codes in order? You know, I have a copy of the codes here, and some of the things. This is for shelter. There had to be procedures for redirecting those clients seeking admittance who cannot be accommodated. So I talked to one of the pastors there. I asked him, what about those who show up intoxicated? What happened to them? He said they are not allowed to enter. So where did they go? He also asked, you know, do they have a plan? This is from your own codes. Was there a plan for extending and receiving communications with neighbors? Obviously not. Their own pastor staff didn't know, neither did their own parishioners. So, and finally, if I can get to one more point, I don't know how much time I have. So what am I asking for? When my wife wanted to come here, you can see this is an emotional event for her. To see that she was cut off by time, that's unfortunate. I think things like this need a little extra time. I know you gave her some, but she, you know, this is exactly what we're asking for. Spend a little bit of time on this, support the chief. We need to answer the problem, but by cutting people off and continue ignoring it, that is not the solution. We have to find a solution. I'm asking for a cease and desist immediately against Mercy House and EV Free until they can confirm that all the codes are in order, that they have notified the public of what they're doing, and most importantly, the very security that they provide on their campus, they provide some to us, their neighbors. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May we have the next speaker? Are you the last one? How many more do we have? Oh, all right. With those who want to speak, please line up so we know when we're through.
Good evening. My name is Vanessa Buchanan. I am neighbors with the Sharmas and their 16-year-old daughter. I live in this community that I love. First off, I'm a little bit embarrassed that I haven't been to these meetings in the last 15 years. That's something as a community member I should be a part of. I'm sorry that I'm not. Your police department, when called upon for 911 emergencies, they're wonderful. I was at Stater Brothers a couple weeks back. I had a gentleman approach me at the car, and I couldn't get out. Not a big deal. I'm in a car. I'm safe. I leave my spot. I go around to another spot. I still can't get out of my car because he comes to me now at this point. I call the police department. He goes to hassle somebody else. My husband, I had texted him, said the situation. He came, met me in the grocery store. Stater Brothers called the police. He called the police. They never showed up within an hour period of time. So it's kind of one of those things where I'm not sure as a citizen what to do. But I have a question for you, Mr. Chafee. The comment that you made to Karen, I understand time, but wrap it up. How do you wrap that up for a 16-year-old little girl?
Well, ma'am, we extended the time well beyond. And we
No, I know, but I'm asking you, how do things like this in our community?
I'm asking her comments to wrap up. You don't wrap it up for the girl.
No, I know, but they all kind of go together. There's a grace of time for something like this. How does this little girl now going forward mentally wrap around this? This is her city. This is her community.
Well, addressing us here doesn't really answer that. There's a professional help that's necessary.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for your service, officers, and thank you.
Mayor, members of the council, my name is John Schaefer. I'm on staff at EV Free. Also happen to be a 30-plus year resident of Fullerton and the father of 3 girls. I cannot imagine anything more horrible than this circumstance. And I can assure you, and as I have assured the family of the Robbie and Karen, we feel terrible about this. We've had the armory shelter operate at EV Free periodically for the last 10 years. There has never been an incident like this. In the wake of this, we are opening up a public meeting Thursday night, which we would hope the community would come. We've already been in a conversation with many of our neighbors, as well as the Sharmas, and asking for what are things that we can do to improve this and still meet what we think we're called to do to help with the homeless situation. So we would hope that the community would come out on Thursday and that we could do things to be able to continue to operate a shelter and deal with the problem that our community has in a way that we feel called and we think our community is called, but also to do it in the way that's safest as possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And are you our last speaker? Anybody else? All right, you, sir, are our last speaker. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Larry Haynes. I'm the Executive Director of Mercy House. I don't want to equivocate. I don't want to justify. I don't want to explain anything away. I have a 14-year-old daughter and an 18-year-old daughter. And if this happened in my house, I'd want to kill the son of a bitch. That's not politically correct, but that's how I would feel. I wouldn't want to be lectured and moralized by some guy in a cheap suit about mental health or poverty or compassion. I would want to be violent. And if it were me, I think I would be. I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying that's plays to my better angels, but that is exactly what I would do. As an advocate of the poor for 30 years, I have no interest in advocating for this person. I want justice for this family. I have no interest in apologizing or explaining away anything. That's pure crap. I want him to pay. I am furious. I want him to do nothing but pay. The only thing I can say is, as the operator, in 30 years of doing this, we've never had anything even close to this, something like this happening, ever. We don't run a jail. I can't prevent human movement. There are legalities that we have to follow, and I can't stop or control the behavior of someone when they're outside of one of our facilities. There is only so much I can do. I dispute a little bit of some of the facts that have been said in terms of our operations and whatever. Who cares? That's beside the point. I am so very sorry for this family, and I beg their forgiveness. I want this man to pay, and we will do whatever we have to do to make it right. Anything, whatever it is. Again, there's not much we can do out when things are outside of our purview. But anything, you guys know me. I'm open for whatever is reasonable or even what's unreasonable. We want to be a good community member. We want to end homelessness, and we can't do this at the expense of the well-being of other people. There is absolutely no equivocation, only a heartfelt apology. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Haynes. Seeing no more speakers, I'm going to close the public comment section and bring it back to council. Start with the city manager.